Shedeur Sanders are battling for the Browns' starting quarterback job. The new head coach, Todd Monken, told Cameron Wolfe of NFL Network that each will start a preseason game and that the leader will likely start the final preseason game on August 27th against the Patriots. So, again, in case that's not clear, one guy will start one, the other guy will start the other, and then they'll make a decision on the starter for the third preseason game and go from there. Jeff, what can you tell us about this decision?
None of this is ideal only because Todd Monken really wanted this decided well before training camp even started. That being said, now that we are in the competition, I don't want to call this a surprise because it's not necessarily that, but Shedeur Sanders has come out very hot. He has looked very good in his 2 days with the starting reps. Deshaun Watson, on the other hand, throwing quite a few picks that have drawn some criticism out there of people watching. It is far from over. It is still very early, but right now, feels like Sanders has the edge.
And Gerald, you were saying in our meeting this morning, he can make any announcement he wants at any time he wants. The players on the team, they will know before anyone else knows.
Yeah, we sitting in that locker room. You got a QB battle going on, but whoever starts, he start this preseason game. They start their preseason game. We sitting in the locker room like we know who the guy is. On the defense, we looking at the offense like we see who they're gravitating to, and we know who we want to be the guy in the locker room. The coach can say what he wants to the media and all that, but we know. So leading up to these games, we're thinking, okay, how can we win with this guy right here? But for me, if I'm picking, you just hit on the draft last year with your draft picks.
Right.
With all your young guys. You just traded away Myles Garrett because we want to go younger. If you're going to do that, Deshaun Watson has had all the opportunities to show what he can do. Just go with Shedeur and let's keep it pushing. Like, you're going younger. Why not just go with Shedeur? Let's establish him as the starter and let's just build from there.
The first thing you said there, I don't want it to get lost. The Browns got as much production from rookies last year as almost any team in the league. They drafted very well. They have a lot of good young players on this team. They can replenish from the Myles Garrett trade. In your opinion, should Shedeur Sanders be their quarterback this year?
Look, I still think it should be a meritocracy. They should have to compete for it.
Right.
Okay? Because, look, in the end, I mean, when do you get tired of in Cleveland constantly talking about next year and pushing things down the road next year? Well, next year we have all these picks. Next year we could get our quarterback. No, look, if Shedeur wins the job, great. That's perfect for them because they still have those 2-1s for next year. You know what? And I'll tell you what, if Deshaun wins it and he gives them the best chance to win, then look, as Gerald's talking about, as we know this, you want to maintain credibility in your locker room. You're not just going to play a guy who didn't earn it. So if Shedeur doesn't earn it, you can't play him.
Right.
But if he's earning it, it's the perfect scenario for them. I think that's what everybody wants. That's what everybody wants.
There feels like no world where Deshaun Watson is the future of this organization.
Right.
After all that has happened, after all that has gone through. But that doesn't mean, to your point, that you can just throw the other guy out there if Deshaun is clearly better.
Yeah.
At this point, it seems to be making its decision for them because Shedeur Sanders looks like the better quarterback.
Which again, look, when they're having personnel meetings, after camp is over and the players have gone back to their play, and they're sitting in there talking as a front office, I promise you they're going, Shedeur.
Yeah, right.
Great.
Right.
Keep it going. Make this easy for us.
The Shedeur thing was a big thing, right, when it happened in the draft and everything. J-Mac, you and I have never talked about. Are you a believer? Do you believe Shedeur Sanders can be a good starting quarterback in the NFL?
Yeah, he's got winning pedigree. Did people forget who his dad is?
Yeah.
I know how I groom my son. I groom my son in a way of I know what it takes to be at the highest level, and I'm not Prime. Prime is arguably the best player to ever put on cleats. So imagine how he's been grooming his son from the time he started coaching him. The lights are not too big for Shedeur Sanders. He can handle any pressure you give him and any thought process or questions he has. Hey, Pops, what you got for me? What do I need to do? What does coverage look like doing this? What is this doing this? Yes, I believe Shedeur Sanders can be a starter in this league.
And on top of it, look, he's kind of made his own resume. Okay, when he was out at Colorado, he had plenty of tape. There's plenty of evidence that says, I can do the things that you need franchise quarterbacks to do. Now, as Gerald's talking about, if he can just get the support around him and he can kind of tap into that mental resilience that he's talking about, then that's how you get consistent performance, and that's what you're looking for.
Cam from around the AFC with some nice plays. Here we go, gentlemen. Lewis, the Chiefs. How many times have you seen this? Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelsey.
Look at that, just right over Drew Tranquil's left ear, man. That's what you want to see. Look, Patrick looks sharp, man.
Yeah, man.
He looks sharp.
Travis doesn't have a dad bod. People talking.
You know what? I was like, was that AI? Because the picture that they showed, I was like, whoa.
Fine. He's got pads on.
Fellas,
Whoa.
fellas, that's cute. There's no pass rush.
He's like, yo, calm down.
Gerald, how about this one? Gerald, how about Joe Burrow to T. Higgins? Burrow scrambling, looking downfield.
Pass rush.
See the rush?
T. Higgins.
Ugh. Now that's what you want to see right there. Do it while it's a rush out there. Move around, keep your eyes downfield, back up, make a throw.
I mean,
But they
Hey,
can't.
give me 6.
But they can't hit him, right?
Nobody's
Like they're not
touching
gonna
Joe
hit him.
It doesn't matter.
He still having nightmares of Aaron Donald in the Super Bowl.
You hit Joe Burrow in practice. It's a great way to get cut. If you're looking to
And never play
experiment
again.
with a different profession.
Yeah.
In the meantime, staying in the division, this is Lamar Jackson and his rookie wide receiver, Jacoby Lane. I'm hearing good things about this young player, Lewis.
Look, Jacoby and McCoy were together out there at USC now, and Jacoby was that tall, high riser who had good speed, who could win 50-50 balls. That's what you're seeing right there. He's going to be a surprise player for them. They did a nice job of putting bringing in some young pieces on this football team, offensive line, wide receiver, tight end. They're right there.
Let me get Jeremy Fowler in on this conversation. He's in Philly today, but he was at Ravens training camp yesterday, and he joins us live. Now, Jeremy, what stood out to you yesterday watching Lamar on the field with Jacoby Lane and the rest of that Ravens offense?
Greeny, the Ravens are hunting big plays. Lamar Jackson was going deep a ton yesterday, and they were connecting on a lot of them. And I talked to a coach over there who said, don't worry so much about the offense, under center, play action with Declan Doyle. Lamar Jackson makes magic with any scheme, so they'll be just fine. They're not worried about him. You mentioned Jacoby Lane. He made a great one-handed catch, but he made several plays yesterday, so they're trying to give the younger guys a chance to develop next to Zay Flowers and Derrick Henry. They know what those two can do. In the past, they've went and signed that retread receiver, the 30-plus-year-old former All-Pro. They feel like they don't need to do that right now. They want to see what the young guys can do, and Lane is delivering so far.
Mac, let me come to you. I've got this theory that Lamar Jackson's going on a scorched earth tour this year. Whatever was going on with him and John Harbaugh, I don't pretend to know, but clearly there was some friction internally there. He was involved in the coaching search. He's got the guy he wants. He's been invested from day one. His peers voted him the 69th best player in the NFL. I think Lamar Jackson's going to go nuts this year.
Yeah, I believe that, but it's going to take some time to get this thing going. People believe just because your roster's great that you're going to get off to a hot start. I always think about how the Bucs won the Super Bowl, but if you think back to their season, how did that season start? They brought in Tom Brady with a team that had tons of talent, but they went on the road versus the Saints, who had an established coach and quarterback that were already together.
Right.
And Tom Brady threw pick 6 to start the season. And then they lost to the Saints twice this season, and it just looked a little shaky, looked a little rocky. They had the bye week, and then they got it rolling. That's what comes with having a new head coach. So Jesse Minter comes in there. He has all the tools necessary to make this defense great. The offense is set in place, but it's not just going to be smooth sailing immediately because it's a new coach, and they got to get adjusted.
What do you think?
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Look, if you've ever had the privilege, I've had the privilege of being on a headset on game day just to hear it from a coach's perspective. It's chaos, dude. It's chaos, and these guys are trying to learn one another. It's one thing to call plays in practice and script, a 7-on-7 in team period. It's another when you've got 90,000 people and people are actually hitting your quarterback, and actually hunting him and putting him down. They're going to have to learn each other the first quarter of the season. It's going to be like an extended training camp. But this team is talented, and there's a reason why Declan Doyle is thought of the way he is, and we already know who Lamar is. Lamar has already said, you know who I am.
The good news is, though, there is familiarity. Minter, Anthony Weaver, I've talked to him about it up there, defensive coordinator. Yeah. I mean, he is familiar with that system, as familiar as anybody. So the Ravens culture is still in place up there, even though Harbaugh's gone. This is not a completely fresh start.
Yep. Understood, but it is going to
no
be
doubt.
The offense should be vastly different, right? With the new coming in, we'll see if it looks a little like that Bears offense, which took some time to get going last year, but by playoff time looked awfully good. I mentioned, Jeremy, that you were in Philadelphia, where among other things it looks rainy. What will you be watching for today with Jalen Hurts in that offense?
Yeah, Greeny, Hurts has to deal with the rain. He also has to deal with some players out. Can he elevate the offense without Devontae Smith, who was out yesterday with a hamstring? First-round pick McCoy Lemon also dealing with some hamstring tightness. These are not considered long-term issues, but something the offense has to deal with. Now, keep in mind, when I talk to people with the Eagles about how camp's going, the very first thing they all mention is this defense looks unbelievable right now. So Hurts has major issues just to get past them every day. But the sentiment here is that the offense does look cleaner, is playing a little faster, so that's a good sign. And one name to watch who's really impressed, Dontavian Wicks, former Green Bay receiver. They got him in a low-cost trade this offseason. He's shown to be able to high point the ball. He's making a lot of contested catches, so I'm expecting Hurts to float it up to him today a couple times.
So all the attention is going to be on the offense, and understandably so. I believe it's the 42nd consecutive year they have a new offensive coordinator, but it is the defense, right? I was reading Jeremy's notes this morning. Like, that defense, they think they could be the best defense in the NFL.
Yeah, and look, I mean, and when you think about it, they're not even at full strength yet. But Vic Fangio is someone who you knew that he would have this team really ready to go, because this is a team that's now comfortable in this scheme. He has the right kind of pieces for it. They've got playmakers all three levels. And so, look, offense is a time-on-task side of the football. You need to have your guys available. You need to rep and rep and rep. That's why I think, look, these hamstring injuries, that's something to watch as far as how quickly they can then transition to start the regular season.
So they won the division back-to-back years, Jeff. First team to do that in a generation. They're favored to do it again. You think they do it again?
I think Dallas is going to be sneakier than people expect them to be. To me, Dallas
sneaking.
is that maybe sneaky is not the right word, but we're just so accustomed to assuming that they're going to lose. Dallas to me should be favored in the division, but I do understand why Philly.
I agree.
You do?
I agree. Dallas should be favored because we looked at how. If you look at Philly last year, they know how to win games. But if you look at the offense, was like, I really don't know. And now you got a total new offensive coordinator, whereas Dallas, they go into the second year with this group, and they were a top offense last year. Well, now they have the pieces on defense to add to it. They could score. They couldn't stop nobody.
That's right.
So
going back to Philly, I mean, we have Jeremy, here. What's the update on Jonathan Grenard as far as his pec injury? Is there any update as far as how he's feeling?
I have just a moment. Jeremy, you will either find that out today, or do you already have something on that?
Yeah, we're gonna be watching that closely. That's not considered a long-term thing, but he is out for now. So they are rushing the passer without Grenard, at least in the short term. I don't expect to see him on the field today.